Okay, well, welcome to the July 9th, 2020 Design Review Board. Welcome to all the members. Emily, if you want to read the intro.
So you're calling the meeting to order at 6:36.
6:36.
All right. So as a preliminary matter, this is Emily Hutchings, Associate Planner and member of the Design Review Board. Before beginning the meeting, I'd like to announce that this meeting is being recorded by the City of Beverly. I'm confirming that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Joel Margolis.
Present.
Matthew Ulrich.
Present.
Rachel Poor.
You're muted, Rachel.
Present. Caroline Mason.
Present.
Ellen Flamery.
Present.
Sandra Cook is not present, and Emily Hutchings is present. Staff, when I call your name, can you please respond in the affirmative? Is Charlene Woodbury here? Okay, she is not here. So anticipated speakers on the agenda. I'm going to call the names of the. Oh, sorry.
Emily, this is Charlene Woodbury. I am here.
Perfect.
Oh.
Thank you, Charlene. So for applicants, is the representative of 10 Congress Street Owner LLC here?
Yes.
Ricky Zhang. Ricky is not here. Okay. Viewpoint Sign and Awning for Rossetti.
Here.
And Zero Everett Street LLC.
Here.
All right. So good evening. This open meeting Design Review Board is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12th, 2020, due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of COVID-19. In order to mitigate transmission of the virus, we've been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gatherings, and as such, the governor's order suspended the requirement of open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. Further, all members of public bodies are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The order allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely so long as adequate alternative public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting may feature public comment. For this meeting, the Design Review Board is convening by telephone and video conference via Google Hangouts as posted on the city's website, identifying how the public may join. Please note that this meeting is being recorded and that some members are participating via video conference. Accordingly, please be aware that other participants or viewers may be able to see and hear you, and anything you broadcast may be captured by the recording. You have the option to turn off your video if you are participating via computer. All participants should keep their microphones or phones muted unless recognized by the chair to reduce background noise and feedback. So if you're on the phone, you can mute yourself by hitting *6. Please wait until the person speaking has finished before speaking so we can clearly hear all participants. Meeting materials. Supporting materials that have been provided to members of this body are available from the Planning Department. Please contact Associate Planner Emily Hutchings to request supporting materials. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda unless the chair notes otherwise. Meeting ground rules. We are now turning to the first item on the agenda. Before we do so, I will cover some ground rules for effective and clear conduct of our business and to ensure accurate meeting minutes. The chair or acting chair will introduce each speaker on the agenda. After they conclude their remarks, the chair will invite board members to provide any comments, questions, or motions. Please remember to mute your phone or computer when you are not speaking. You may mute yourself or be muted by the meeting host by clicking on the microphone mute unmute icon, pressing the mute button on your telephone, or pressing *6 on your telephone keypad. Please reserve the chat function for technical difficulties and not for public comment. Please remember to speak clearly and in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. For any response, please state your name and affiliation before speaking. Regarding public comment, after members have spoken, the chair or acting chair will afford public comment as follows. The chair will ask members of the public who wish to speak to identify their names and addresses only. Once the chair has a list of all public commentators, he will call on each by name and afford 3 minutes for any comments. For those individuals present in person, please take care to speak loudly and clearly so the microphone associated with the webcam or telephone can effectively broadcast your comments to those participating remotely. Finally, each vote will be taken this evening that will be conducted by a roll call. All right, Joel, you're up.
Okay, first on the agenda is 10 Congress Street Owner LLC. Who is here to make that presentation?
I am, sir. Andy Lehman, Sign Art. The owners can't get on the meeting for some reason, so I'm going to be doing this.
Okay, you can proceed.
They're looking to put a sign up for Sedner Apartments, 12 Congress Street. And we're looking for your feedback on, if it's acceptable. There's no zoning laws for signs in that district. So kind of flying off the seat of our pants here.
Okay. Emily, can you give us some background on what is allowed in that zone for signs?
Yep.
What it looks like.
So I'm going to show what is being proposed. And so the waterfront development, the waterfront district is not covered in the sign ordinance. So any type of sign that is commercial or requires design review board approval also requires a special permit through the zoning board of appeals. What is typically permitted in commercial or industrial districts that are where these types of signs are explicitly allowed by the ordinance is a freestanding sign no more than 20 square feet is permitted. This one, I believe, is just approximately 60 square feet.
Did you say 20 feet is allowed?
20 feet in commercial districts, in the industrial districts, and other districts that are where residential signs for apartment or multi-unit housing developments are allowed. It's typically 20 square feet.
Okay. Is there anybody you want to discuss your sign dimensions or size here as far as the base or the height and dimensions of it for us?
If I can pipe in the actual sign itself, it's only 21 square feet. So it's the monument portion of it that's getting taken into consideration that bumps way up, and it's 51 square feet total.
Well, the monument becomes part of the sign.
Yeah.
Yeah.
According to the Beverly sign ordinance, the area of a sign includes any background, borders, and monument pieces, any framework.
So that includes the base that it sits on.
Yes.
Okay.
Excuse me, Joe.
Go ahead.
May I ask a question?
Yes. Is that Ellen?
It is, Joel. Thank you. I have two questions. Andy, where on the Congress Street area is the sign going to be positioned?
It's right on the corner. Come off, I'm not sure what this, okay, you got it up there?
Well, there were two side streets, Andy. There's Wellman and there's Porter.
Let me see if I can't see the bottom.
The apartments are closer to Porter Street, so I'm curious
Okay.
where the sign is going to go, number one. And also, what is it going to sit upon? Is it going to be right on the road, or is it going to be sitting on a raised mound, a berm, perhaps?
Yeah, they're supposed to be putting in a berm. I guess it was in site plan and stuff. And this was going on top of that. And it's highlighted right there, right on the corner of Congress and that other street that comes down, not Porter.
Wellman.
Is it
Wellman.
Wellman? It
Yeah,
is Wellman?
Wellman.
So, okay, that's where I was this afternoon. Okay. So how high is the berm, Andy?
I really don't know, and I wish the owner was on with us.
As do we.
I didn't get that information.
That's imperative to know.
Yeah.
I think he said it was 3 feet. This is Caroline. I was there, and the person I spoke with said it would be about 3 feet, the berm.
And how high is the sign in footage?
It's 90 inches high. So that's 8.5 feet. I mean, 7.5 feet.
So what that means is that the sign is going to be sitting about 10 feet above street grade.
Yeah.
That's,
It's
to
far
me,
too big. I mean, it's
that's
just,
not acceptable to me, I can tell you that.
Andy, it's far too big for the site, given where it's located, particularly in a residential area. I just
Yeah.
find the size much too big, much too
Yeah.
big.
I mean, we were going on, with no ordinances for that area. We were just
Yeah.
putting it out there and rather than just putting a sign with 2 poles on it,
Yep.
they would try to match the monument into the building materials
Mhm.
and just make it look a little bit nicer than just 2 poles on it. We'll do whatever we have to do.
So
I mean, have you brought down to size, Em, in the sense of presentation?
So, yeah, Andy, I understand the goal, but I think that the same thing could be accomplished by reducing the size of the sign, either reducing a portion of this background or just reducing the size of the sign in general. When you look at the context of other developments, what they've been able to accomplish effectively the same thing with a smaller total sign area.
Yeah.
So I think there's plenty of opportunity to continue to have a really great sign design
I agree.
and have it be appropriate to the area, but have it fit the character very well. This is a location, this is the only type of multifamily housing or large multifamily housing in this area. So it's not necessarily critical to have a large sign for identification purposes. It's just something that is nice to have. I think
Yeah,
Joel, may I say something?
Yes, Caroline, go ahead.
Yeah, I think whatever we do here is very important because it's going to set a precedent. I mean, it's a major development on our waterfront, and whatever we do here, I think other people are going to want to be able to do as well. So I think we ought to be very careful about sort of what we permit.
I would like to note too, this is the only WDR zoned parcel in the city. Other commercial industrial areas, locations where multifamily housing might occur, it does have that zoning requiring no more than 20 square feet and anything larger to have a variant or a special permit.
Emily, did I send you? I did like 3 other drawings with smaller bases and stuff. Did I ever send those to you?
With smaller, what, I'm sorry.
Bases. Rather than the big monument, they just had smaller bases, which reduced the square footage. I don't think I did, probably.
No, I didn't receive those, sorry.
Okay. I mean, one of the drawings I had it just sitting, the 21 square foot sign sitting on top of 3 pieces of the shiplap with nothing outside of it. It was just like sitting on a base, which came to 32 and a half square feet total.
I can tell you from my perspective that I would not vote on anything that unless I first see a true and accurate representation of what's going to be built. What you have in front of us now is not a true representation if in fact you were going to put it on a 3-foot berm. So that's number one for me. And the overall size is way too big for me. And the third thing is that I would not approve, this board has been badly burned by a major developer in this city when we approved a sign that was to be built at street grade only. And it ended up being on a 3 or higher berm, which effectively put it way above street grade. I would not vote for anything that wasn't at least at street grade, especially in a residential neighborhood.
Okay. So you're looking, you won't approve anything that's not on street grade.
And I want to see a true representation before I approve it.
Yeah. So if they're gonna do street grade, then that rendering is fine. Just put a different sign in there. Is that street grade?
But it's
Well,
still.
that's fine, but that sign, for me, at least personally, is too big.
Yeah,
Wait.
no, I'm saying when we come to a determination on what size we can do, I'll put it on that drawing. I gotta speak with them first. Actually, Brian is on now, I see.
Yeah, sorry, I couldn't get on. I was trying. Yeah, so I guess we just have to look into what street grade really is, because there's no location on the site where you could put a sign that's at street grade. I mean, the location of the sign was, it was on that spot on the original site plan, and that is a mound. So I know you're referring to it as a berm, but there is a mound there with landscaping around it. So there's, if I'm hearing what you're saying right, Joel, then the whole location you have a problem with.
Well, I'd have to go down there and see the placement of it. I can't do it based on this drawing.
So if I may, what Joel means, and Joel, correct me if I'm wrong, is that he would have concerns with if there were some raised ground there. If there's already grass and landscaping that's existing, the concern is that the sign would be put on something that is further built up and raised. Is that correct, Joel?
That makes sense.
Street grade is Congress Street.
Yeah. So that location of the sign, then it is definitely not at street grade. The way the landscaping is and the way the site plan is designed, there is a mound there. That's the way the landscaping was designed and approved. So that location won't work then for a sign, is basically what you're saying, because there's no way to get it at street grade without cutting that mound down, and that mound can't be cut down because it's a portion of the AUL.
It's a portion of the what?
The AUL, which is part of that site. So there's no way to cut that. There's no way to cut that down to street grade. We're.
Excuse me. Oh, go ahead, Matt. I'm sorry.
Yeah, this is Matt Ulrich. I don't have a problem with the location of the sign. I think the concern is that you have a sign that is already 3 times bigger than what is allowed in the commercial district. So it's a big sign already. And I think the concern is that it's then going on top of a 3-foot mound. So you're going to have something that if you put a person next to that walking down the sidewalk, top of that sign's now going to be 10.5 feet above them. To me, that just feels really out of scale. I actually like the design of the sign. I think there's a lot of thought that's been put into it, definitely. But the scale of it just seems massive, especially what is predominantly kind of a residential neighborhood. So I think that, I don't want to speak for Joel, but I think that's part of the concern. For me, it's not so much the location of it. It's the fact you have a sign that is already 3 times the size, and then it's sitting on, I think then it's even bigger, right? Because it's sitting on top of grade.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. For sure. And like I've said from the beginning, we want to do something that works for everybody. So if that's far too big, and because there was no real zoning for this, we kind of designed it the way we wanted it, and then we want to bring it to you guys and you to give us some direction. So if we need to shrink it down to make everybody happy, then we will do that. if you want to give us some parameters, then we'll absolutely go back to the drawing board and redesign it. I don't think we need a sign that's 10 feet above grade. Street grade. I don't. And when you factor in the mound, what Joel is saying and what you're saying, Matt, makes a ton of sense. So if you guys want to give us some parameters, like I've said from the beginning, we want to be good neighbors. We don't want to be a developer that burns anybody. That's not a position we want to take. So if you guys want to give us some guidelines, we're happy to either scale that sign down if the board's okay with the way it looks. If you want us to completely redesign it and pull a lot of the detail out and just use the blue Sedna sign, we could probably do that too. So,
Brian, is it my understanding that this is a lit sign?
Originally, it was internally lit. Andy, you could speak to that. I thought we took that out and planned to light it with landscape lighting because I know in the city, internally lit signs, especially in a residential area, are usually a no-no. But in a perfect world, I would love to light it from inside, really dimly lit. But if that doesn't fly, it doesn't fly.
It was originally designed as internally illuminated, and the only thing that would light up would be the S logo and the Sedna. The other stuff would be just applied to the front. It would be a routed out aluminum face with push through letters. So it's not real bright. The only thing that's going to light up is the letters.
Yeah, so I don't know if it really matters, but I could certainly send you images of signs we've done that are lit from inside. I would always argue that a sign that's internally lit gives off less light than something that's lit from the ground with landscape lighting. It's not super bright, but
Joel, can you hear me? This is Caroline.
Go ahead, Caroline.
I absolutely am against internally lit signs on the waterfront. I think that's garish, and I think we don't want that. I just think that's not appropriate. So I would not be at all for internally illuminated signs in that location.
Anybody else?
I think this is Matt Ulrich again. Just moving forward, like to give you some direction, I guess, from my standpoint, a couple things that would be helpful, I think, would be to see like a person nearby that so you can get some sense of scale in the rendering for the next pass at this. I think accurately showing the topography and maybe showing the site plan that has the topo on it so we can get a better sense of like what this thing's sitting on top of. And for me, I mean, if I just took the blue Sedna piece and that was the size of the sign and that was kind of nestled in there, I think I'd be okay with that. Maybe you can pull some of the elements in that here somehow, I don't know. But I guess that's kind of where I am with it.
So that blue section is 21 square feet. So anything we add to that is going to push us even higher. So
if we scale the whole thing down, Andy, you're really gonna lose. It's not gonna be legible. It'll be really small. So we could certainly take another pass at it and come back with something that's smaller and try to get everybody comfortable. I don't disagree with what you're saying, Matt or Joel. I don't. 10 feet seems really high.
Yeah, I appreciate that you guys are working with us, and you've definitely given some thought to what you presented. I appreciate that. I think there's just going to be a little kind of fine tuning of it.
Yeah, Joel.
Brian, when you come back, Brian, when you come back, you can get us a drawing that shows a true perspective of the sign in its place relative to surrounding properties. Even if you took a perspective of looking across the street, across Congress Street, and the relationship of the sign to how neighbors are going to see it. I need more information as to what it's going to look like than what I see today.
Excuse me, Joel. Joel, may I ask a question?
Ellen?
It's Ellen. May I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Brian, it's Ellen Flannery. I'm a member of the board. My question for you, Brian, is this berm that you're referring to on the site plan as approved?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
I just want to make sure it's on the site plan. It's existing. It's what we approved.
Absolutely. Yep. The sign location was on the site plan and was approved. There was
I thought it was. I thought I had seen it when I'm the member of the planning board, Brian. So I remember seeing an image of a sign, but I just wanted to confirm that berm is existing and it is on the site plan approved. So we know what we're working with. Thank you.
Yeah, existing is a little misleading. It's on the site plan, and that mound needs to be created. If you went out there right now, there's a loader sitting on that site, and it's dug out. It is not existing, but it is on the plan that was approved and needs
Okay.
to be put back up as part of the AUL.
Okay. Thank you,
Then
Brian.
maybe we should suggest that we don't create such a big berm or a berm at all and embed the sign into a berm, but not on top of the berm.
You have to, we have to create that berm there, Joel. It's part of the cut and fill and part of the environmental.
Okay.
Yeah, Joel,
It has
Joel,
to
can
be.
I
We're not
comment?
familiar with that.
So Joel, can I comment?
Sure.
Sorry, I'm going to stop sharing so we can hopefully maybe see everyone's faces a bit better. So I think what would be helpful for next time is, again, like Matt said, I agree that something, I completely lost my train of thought. I apologize. So what I think would be helpful for next time is showing a sign with a reduced size as it would appear on the site with the berm. Joel, echoing what Brian said, the berm is part of the environmental review. I believe that's something that was required by the Conservation Commission and probably the DEP as well as part of that environmental confirmation. And it's part of probably the site plan review as well. But being able to show how the sign will look as it sits and to scale on the berm would be very helpful. Perhaps get it across the street. It's not something, so what we have seen before that have been has been misleading is photos that show the signs several hundred feet away. And in this location, I think the goal, correct me if I'm wrong, is to be able to see the sign a little bit closer. What is your goal for visuals? How far would you like the sign to be seen?
How far would we like it to be seen from?
Yes.
Oh, I don't. We just want it to be able to be recognized. So when someone crosses the train tracks, they see the sign. I mean, there's no missing the building. When you drive over the train tracks, you can see the buildings. But we want a sign there. I don't want it to be visible from the bottom of the bridge. I mean, that's perfectly reasonable to me to shrink it down. But I think it also needs to be, you want the scale to be right. You don't want the project to be the size of the project and this big public walkway and parking lots and then have a sign that is 2 feet wide. It just, at that point, it doesn't make sense. So visible, I want you to be able to see it when you're coming down the hill and you get to the intersection and when you cross over the train tracks to see the sign. I don't think it needs to be seen from hundreds of feet away.
So in that case, what might be helpful then is showing the sign from where you would like it to be seen, so perhaps from the train tracks, and then perhaps across the street as well, so the board can see it doesn't overwhelm the area, it doesn't overwhelm the property, and you can see it to scale in context.
Yeah, and now that the buildings are in there, so we have photorealistic renderings, not just the renderings that Andy used on his drawing, that I could probably have it dropped in on, and we could also take some real pictures and drop it in. You're still going to have fencing there. It's still a construction site, but we could probably try to do that just to give everybody a better perspective. The problem with a lot of that stuff is you can make the perspectives work in your favor and make them look however you want to look. I think if I take the photorealistic renderings and take some pictures from the bottom of the hill and we drop it in and then scale it, maybe with a picture of someone, I'll take a picture with someone standing there and drop it in. That's probably going to give you the most accurate representation, I would think.
Well, that'll be helpful.
Okay.
In addition, I don't think we all have a perspective of what that berm is going to look like, because Ellen is probably the only one, having sat on the planning board, that knows where that's going to be and how it's going to be presented. If you can include that somehow into your drawing, that would be helpful as well.
Yeah, that might be a little trickier, but I could certainly send you the site plan, and I could send it over to you, Emily, and highlight that area and show you the difference in grade between the parking lot and the top of that mound. So you guys can try to visualize, because the parking lots are there, the buildings are there, but that'd be a hard thing to accurately render.
You know what you might be able to do is you might be able to just do a quick cross section across
Yeah.
Congress Street, right? Just an elevation. It shows like the house across the street, sidewalk, street, a person on the sidewalk, the mound, the sign. Just get all that in a quick elevation sketch. I think spatially would be probably pretty helpful.
Okay, we could certainly take a shot at it.
Ellen, did you have anything?
I'm good. Thank you, Joel. My questions were answered. Thank you.
Okay. Rachel, anything?
No, I agree with you guys.
I got a couple questions of you. I'm just wondering about the actual sign size of the blue section. Are you guys okay with that, 21 square feet, or does that need to be shrunk down too?
Joel, if I may?
Sure.
I think to make a positive recommendation to the Zoning Board of Appeals, I'd want to understand better why additional size is needed beyond 20 square feet. And so perhaps showing how the total sign, including the background, including the base, would appear if it fit in that 20 square feet.
So you would like to see it at 20 square feet?
Either that or have a very clear demonstration of why additional size is needed.
Yeah. Okay. And what about height, overall height of the sign? Any comments on what you're looking for there?
I mean, personally, I don't think it should be taller than a person.
So around 6 feet?
Well, it should be definitely not nearly as tall as a person.
We just gotta get Matt to come out and stand by it because he's tall and we're good.
Yeah, if you go only as high as his waist, we're all set.
No, I mean, we'll work with you, but it's a chest height, I guess, I don't know. I'd be interested to see, that's the kind of thing I think you can work out with a section, like what's appropriate when you show a person at scale in there.
Yeah,
Okay.
it is. It's also set back on that mound. So like I said, you and Joel's point's a good one. If it was right on the sidewalk, it would feel like it was kind of hovering over somebody, but it's set back a good bit. So if you look at that plan, and I'll circulate it, it's not right on the sidewalk. It's set back a little bit. So I don't feel anyone would feel like they were walking by and the sign was up over their head. It's set back a ways.
I think this section will help you show that, what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
Better than the plan.
Yeah.
I think people will understand the section better.
So this shows it not that far away from the sidewalk.
Mhm.
And if it's set back a bit from that, then there may be some additional consideration.
Sorry, I was muted. I think that corner on the left, we were out there shooting some grades last week, and I think that left corner is 5 feet off the corner of the sidewalk, but I'm not 100% sure. I think it's 5 feet.
Five feet is pretty close to the sidewalk.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll look at it. I'll put real measurements on there. I'll have them shoot it with the rod, and we'll put some measurements on it.
Awesome.
That'd be very helpful, Brian.
Great.
So what can happen now, if there isn't any further discussion, is Joel, you can call to continue the item, if that's all right with the applicant.
Yeah, I'd have a motion to continue till the August meeting.
So move, Joel.
All those in favor?
I need a
Matt?
second. Sorry.
Need a second.
Matt,
Wait,
Roll call
Joel,
vote.
need a second.
we did have a second, didn't we?
No,
Yeah.
I moved it. And who seconded it, Joel?
Yes, you seconded it?
No, I moved it. I moved to,
Oh, do we have a second then? I thought you seconded.
Matt Ulrich, I second.
All right, we have a roll call vote. Matt,
Yes.
Emily,
Yes.
Caroline,
Yes.
Rachel,
Yes.
Ellen,
yes.
and for myself, yes. And that meeting is going to take place on what date? August what?
August 6th.
August 6th, okay. Motion carries 6-0.
Okay.
Uh,
All right, moving
So
on.
Brian, Brian, Andy, what can happen now is you're automatically put on the agenda. Any new materials would need to come in by the application deadline for that August meeting. And feel free to contact me with any questions about the meeting.
We'll do. I'll get you some more information. Either George or myself will connect with you.
Emily, do you know a deadline date on that meeting?
The deadline date is July 29th at noon.
Thank you.
All right, moving on. We ready to move on? Next on the agenda is Ricky Zhang, Drink Stir at 505 Rantoul Street. We have somebody speaking on that petition?
Joel, he might be muted, Joel.
I don't know whether I don't know.
I see the
I see-
857 number is muted.
I see a couple phones that are muted. If you press *6, that will unmute you.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, my name is Ricky. I'm the sign contractor who doing the sign for Drink Stir. And I try to make the put the aluminum panel sign on that spot over there, just like same thing as next door.
So Ricky, I have the rendering here. So I'm going to present it to the board so they can see.
Okay.
They should have received the drawings that you submitted, but this is I'm putting it up.
Okay.
Can everyone see the rendering? Can the board members see?
Okay,
Yes,
yes.
thank you, Emily.
So what's being proposed is a wall sign on the existing panel and a freestanding sign, or not a freestanding, I'm sorry, a projecting sign will go right next to it. The wall sign is, let me look at my staff report, apologies. The wall sign is under 10 square feet and the projecting sign is under 3 square feet.
Is the wall sign the same size as what's there now, or was there?
Yes, I believe.
Can you say?
Oh, sorry, go ahead, Ricky.
Oh, I'm saying. Can you say that again? I can't hear it.
No, I asked if the wall sign was the same size as what was there previous.
There's no sign there previous. I don't see any sign because when I go there to take the measurement, there's a low sign over there already.
Okay, so what was there before? My apologies. I believe it was Rasta Pasta Pizzeria that was there previously.
Right. And it fit within the border of the existing panel there.
Yes, the previous signs that were there fit within that panel.
Yes. Anybody wish to comment on it?
I'm fine with it, Joel, if it's all the dimensions.
Yeah, I agree. I think it fits.
Given its location in the building, where it sits in the property, the restaurant next door, I think it fits.
Anyone else wish to comment?
I think it is appropriate and it fits within the sign band and it is appropriate to the location.
Yep.
Anybody want to care to make a motion on it?
Joel, it's Ellen. I'll move to approve the sign for Drink Stir as presented.
We have a second?
This is Rachel. I'll second.
Okay. Matt? Roll call vote.
Yep.
Emily?
Yes.
Caroline?
Yes.
Rachel?
Yes.
Ellen?
Yes.
And for myself, yes. Motion carries 6-0.
All right, so Ricky, you're all set. I'll be sending out the sign approval letter on Monday. So
Okay,
with go to the building department, or you can go onto their website and apply for your sign permit, and then you'll be able to put the sign up. And I'll have the instructions on the letter that I send.
Okay, thank you very much. Have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, next on the agenda is viewpoint sign and awning for Rossetti Restaurant and Bar, 142 to 148 Brimble Avenue.
This is Jeff Quass for Viewpoint. Can you hear?
Yes, we can.
I apologize. I'm on my phone. I couldn't get my laptop to work. Mike Diskin is here, who is the designer on the project, as well as Chris Rossetti. If there's questions about the establishment, it's a full-service restaurant that's going into the all the way on the right side and towards the back. It's going to have a patio to the right of the restaurant as well. The sign is designed at 30 square feet of copy, so it meets code, and we don't need to go in front of the ZBA for a larger sign, as many others in that plaza have done. The concept was a kind of a black fascia, so we incorporated that into the panel, and we're going to have it's an opaque black fascia, flex face, and then we're going to have white lettering in the upper right, and that's going to be illuminated from behind with LED lights that will just light the letter, so none of the background will be lit. And we'll also have LEDs around the perimeter, the top and sides, so you get a little glow around the structure. So I'm happy to discuss.
Emily, you're on mute.
Sorry.
Sorry, thank you.
No.
Sorry, Andy, I was saying, but I was on mute, that I was going to interrupt. I'm sharing my screen so that the board and those who are in the meeting can see the sign. But keep going, please.
Oh, no, that pretty much I think explains the concept. So
I'm happy to speak.
You can see.
Yeah, Jeff, if Michael wants to jump in here.
I'm happy to speak to the thinking behind it. This is Michael, Assembly Design Studio, on behalf of Rossetti. Our thinking when we proposed this sign was similar to the thinking I think you folks tend to approach these meetings with. We didn't want a very large, offensive sign that was going to clutter up the beginning of this restaurant. We wanted something that was impactful and could be seen from the outside streets, and with the location being in the kind of deep corner of the plaza, we wanted something that was noticeable, but we didn't want to have to go the route of some big, large, bulky signs. So the idea was to kind of incorporate this very simply into a facade, so that there wasn't some big box sign hanging off the front of the building, but yet there was still an impact. So the thought became, filling in this facade space that is naturally there already, and adding a little bit of contrast to the existing plaza as it is now. The plaza has a lot of tans and browns and cream colors. So just simply trying to add a little bit of contrast, or some some dynamic look within the plaza itself, allowing using that as an eye drawing mechanism instead of trying to come up with some very large sign. Felt like a natural way to do this. And Chris had directed us from a design standpoint. He has a very sort of minimalist, simple approach to what he wants to do with not only the outside but the inside. So we tried to find some way of being impactful, but kind of minimal in its overall approach. So that was the thinking behind it. We wanted to have a sign that was noticeable, but something that felt like it was more part of just the facade as opposed to a large sign that was protruding.
Okay. Anybody else wish to comment on it?
I think it looks great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's very clean looking, Michael. It's a nice looking sign.
Thank you. I mean, that really was the intent. Chris has been a great compass for us in the design of this restaurant, and he's really had this very clear vision of keeping things impactful but very simple in their approach. So we felt this was an easy way of doing that, and bringing some dynamic contrast to the plaza itself. I think I'm a photographer as well as a designer, and I think those moments within a plaza of that size kind of give some diversity to how the plaza feels and looks, which I think can be pleasant.
And I think, just from my standpoint, for us, we've always been very OCD about what we do in this industry, and this restaurant's going to be just our baby. So the experience starts right when you walk up front. So we really wanted the sign to portray what we're trying to do, which is tons and tons and tons of details, but very simple at the same time. And when people walk in, they can be in a suit and tie and a dress, or they can be in shorts and a t-shirt and still get this beautiful, elegant place. But at the same time, it's casual. So I think that we accomplished it with that, and I'm really excited. And I'm not stressed out at all for the opening. Yes, I am. Mike did a great job.
When are you planning to open?
Delivering what we were looking for.
Chris, when are you planning to open?
So as of right now, we're on track for mid-September, but I'm probably going to push to early October. The training program is going to be really intense, so I need to make sure that the staff understands what we're going for in this restaurant, and so we'll see. We'll say mid-September, early October for now.
Okay.
I have a quick question, Joel.
Yep.
Sorry. So for Chris and Michael, do you feel like you need signs on both facades? Is that something you feel like you need with the facade that's facing the plaza? Because I noticed when I drove by there, it's not necessarily facing any of the entry points, or if it's visible from a few, but the other facade is just as visible.
I think ultimately the intention was to, since we were going with this approach of more of a facade versus a sign, the idea was to carry that feel across so that it was clear that that whole corner unit was of one piece, so that it felt like, I think one of the challenges with a in plaza restaurant is defining it and giving it its own space within this stream of other businesses, and having that second sign allows somebody from across the parking lot to see the size of the restaurant, get a sense of the prominence of the restaurant, and that it's not just maybe a simple little taco shop that is in there, or that there's something a little more established there. So that was kind of the hope that having those two signs would not only allow for the visual on two sides, especially considering there's the patio right below the angled side, that it frames the restaurant size as well. So you get a sense of a larger venue there than just a small front facade.
Yeah, I think it points out, I think you nailed that. It points out the fact that we are, it's going to be a different type of dining experience that you don't normally see within this type of plaza. And this type of plaza was built to be that type, to be on a higher level than just your classic type of shopping plaza. And being that we're the only restaurant in there, and being that we're trying to accomplish something that's much more than what people may think of a restaurant traditionally in a shopping plaza is, I think the sign really is important surrounding that entire space.
All right. Anybody have any last comments? Anybody wish to make a motion?
I'll make the motion I move that we recommend the sign at the
Oh, so it's a simple approval, Caroline, sorry.
yeah, we approve sign for the Rossetti proposal.
We have a second to the motion?
I'll second, Joel.
Motion by, second by Ellen. Roll call vote, Matt,
Yes.
Emily,
Yes.
Caroline,
Yes.
Rachel,
Yes.
Ellen,
Yes.
and for myself, yes. Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you very much, folks. Appreciate that.
Thank you so much, everyone. I hope I get to see everybody there. So
All the very best to you.
Are you going to be
Thank you.
applying for outdoor dining? Are you going to be looking to do outdoor dining on that patio?
we are. In fact, we're going an even bigger level by doing like a 3/4 season patio with louvers that you hit a button, they open up, and the entire structure will open. And we want to bring something that's special that's like Lynn. The Rossetti Lynn was kind of our stepping stone, so we really wanted to go all out with this. And so this new 3/4 season patio is going to be pretty awesome. And we may even do a fire element in that as well. We want to make it feel like even during the winter, people want to still sit out there because it will be heated. But obviously during COVID-19 and during these times, it will attract more people, we hope. So
Great. Look forward to it.
awesome. Thanks, guys.
Chris. Folks.
Thank you. So I'll be sending that letter on Monday, so you can go and apply for your sign permit with the letter.
Excellent.
Great.
Thank you, Emily.
Thank you, everybody.
Folks.
Great.
All right.
Next on the agenda is 0 Everett Street.
Hi, this is Julia Meridian with Seeger Architects.
Okay, go ahead.
Can I put up my screen to share?
Sure. Yes.
Okay, so as you know, this is a continuation from last meeting. We have taken some of your advice and changed a few things from the last meeting. This is the first and second floor plan. We took from the last meeting the side entrances from each unit and brought them back in aligned with the lower family room there, and changed the roof over that entrance, brought that back with it. In terms of the floor plans, not much else has changed. This is the third floor and the roof. We did change on the roof plan the dormer. This was a full shed dormer from gable to gable, and we scaled it down to a smaller shed dormer on this side, as you can see in the floor plan here as well. So once again, this is a change to 2 townhouses from 1 retail unit and 2 townhouses. This is 2.5 stories. As you can see here on the Everett Street side, we took the roof that was above the garage. Before it was a hip roof wrapping around the side. Now it is a shed roof, and we added some brackets around the entry and at the garage on either side, and did a little more detail on this entrance to show where you go into your main units. And you can see here again where we took this dormer, which went from gable to gable, and made it a bit smaller to scale this side down to a smaller dormer here. And on this side, which faces the neighbor on Everett Street, we took this, and this door is recessed from this plane. On the garage side, we made the roof a bit smaller, just a shed roof, not a hip roof again, with some brackets to match the other side. And as you can see, we have the flare of the shingles going around at this level. And on this side, we have smaller windows facing that neighbor and a privacy screen off the deck for privacy towards that neighbor as well. And on the Hale Street side is similar to the side we were just looking at, with the smaller roof, just a shed roof with some nice brackets. We also changed the door style here. And this plane is behind the garage plane. And then on the back, most of this stayed the same from the last meeting, but you can see it from the side view of that roof that we have a shed roof with some nice brackets on the side. We also have some renderings that we submitted, so you can see the building here on the site with the neighbors behind. This part isn't quite accurate because it's the rendering stuck in there, but you have that wall going down, the stone wall that goes down to Hale Street on this side. But you can see how we've changed the roof lines here. And this again is that corner rendering, more close up, but not within the site. And here you can see how we've bumped this out. It's all shingles down below as well, just like above. Changed this roof line so it's not one big massing going straight up. And added the brackets. We have the metal roof going across here. And we have the shingles in the gable and on the side of the shed here as well. And you can see this door recessed a bit with the shed roof over it and the brackets to match the front. So this is the Hale Street view. And the landscape plan, which has not changed from the last meeting, where we have some privacy from the neighbor behind with the maple trees and some of the arborvitaes, as well as the arborvitaes with this neighbor and the fence going around for these patios for each unit. And we have a walkway from Hale Street going up that existing stone wall, which we're going to replace. And then we will take down the corner so that it's for sight line from here, people pulling in, pulling out. It'll be a low landscaping here. And I think that's about it. I don't know if Joe, if you wanted to say anything else.
Any comments or questions from anyone?
Joel?
Yes, go ahead, Caroline.
I wondered if I could ask Emily, I'm looking at her staff note regarding the siding of this building, and I wonder if you could expand your thinking behind the note that you made to this project.
Which one, Caroline?
You said the previous site plan naturally framed the Beverly Farms downtown portion of Hale Street, and with a primary entrance facing Hale. So now, of course, the plan is to rotate the building. And I was maybe magical thinking, hoping you were maybe suggesting that perhaps we ought to rethink not having the opening on Hale. But I don't want to put words into your mouth. What were you thinking when you wrote that?
So that was a note from the previous staff report prior to the revisions, and so it was based on the concept that the entrance for the previous plan with the commercial was facing Hale Street. There was an entrance from Hale Street, and it framed the street in terms of really bringing the focus to the Hale Street section. And with this, this is a different concept. It's a residential only. It's a residential only building. So there's some differences. I think what we discussed at the last meeting about the entrance and making some revisions to the entrance, that was really what I was getting with that note.
Okay, I guess I still think the importance of framing the downtown portion of Hale is significant. I mean, again, if you walk from West Street and you enter Hale Street, it will seem very odd to see the side of a building. And when it faces Everett, it's facing a large fence. It's not opposite another house, and it has a large fence on its side. So I realize there are some important, the changes that were made, but I still think it's unfortunate that you're going to have that entry to the farms village with this building. That's just my thought.
What is? Can you tell us what that door leads to? That's on the Hill Street.
So this door leads to the kind of living room, and you can go straight upstairs to your kitchen. This is a rumpus room, family room downstairs. And from there, you can go straight up to your kitchen area, living room area.
So that's just to one unit.
Yes.
Okay. Is there any way to more formalize that entrance, be it with a dormer, with a shed, not a shed roof, a gable roof, and make it bigger and make it look like it, even if it's not, make it look like it was the entrance to the main entrance to the building.
Okay.
And that way, I think it would enhance the appearance from Hale Street, which is the main entrance, the main thing you're seeing as you drive by there, coming from both directions.
Okay.
Anybody have a thought on that? Hello?
Jill.
It doesn't bother me too much, actually.
No,
I think it's a nice looking building.
How much bigger, Julia, could you make that door so it makes a difference? I guess that's the word I'm looking for.
Well, it's a standard 3-foot door. We could expand the roof a bit. Going to where the bump out is and on the other side.
Yeah.
We could possibly add a side light, or if that's what you mean by expanding.
I'm just looking for a way to try to dress this thing up so it has a better appearance on Hale Street.
So, yeah, I'm not sure that there's that much to be done without doing some real finagling with the interior, which I don't think is the goal here. I agree. It's possible that expanding that gable to the edge of so it's a bit wider, that could be an option, but it's not necessarily something that I feel intensely about. I think for the most part, what was discussed at the previous meeting has been addressed, and there's certainly it's certainly an improvement.
Emily, this is Carolyn. I'm going to have to leave the meeting at this time.
Okay. Thank you, Caroline. Do you think you'll be back, or?
Are you ready for a vote, or what are you looking for at this point?
Well, I don't think the discussion has ended, but.
All right. I will just hold on. I mean, I will stop for a short time and I'll try to be back. Okay?
Okay.
Thank
you.
I guess what I'm suggesting is not necessarily making a change that's going to be a functional change, but more of just an appearance change. The door can still be maybe a couple of side lights and something to formalize the front of that building I think would be a big improvement.
Okay.
It's a predominant site.
Yes.
That's all I have.
Joel, I would note at this time too, there may be some members of the public here who would like to comment if you would like to allow that.
Absolutely. Who would like to speak? Is it Peter?
Yes, I would. Thank you very much. Can you pick me up now?
Yes, we hear you.
Okay, great. I think the changes made have been good. I appreciate those, Julia. But I'd like to offer a radical thought, which is to rotate the building back the way it was, the orientation the way it was, without move. I'm giving up on my 5-foot additional frontage, but you already have the building sited in your first go round. Joe, you did a nice job at the Pride Station with a double entrance. It is just like this right on the street, but you managed to put an entrance to both units, both Hale Street units there. I think you have the room. It would require some dislocation internally, But basically, I think what you have is rumpus room there, so that you could make the main entrance double wide, set it back a little bit the way you did on Pride Station, and that would give you a nice proud entrance on Hale Street. It would really look like it belonged there. The other thing that would accomplish is putting the parking around back instead of, as you look at Everett Street, now what you see is a massive garage wall. You had the parking around back before, so you know the clearances are there. You know the setback is there. What's happened is you've infilled what was an overhang with the garages. So the spacing's the same. And I think that would give you a much better, a much more pleasant view on both Everett Street and Hale Street. So I'd like to throw that out for consideration. That's really it from me. Thank you.
Thank you,
So
Peter.
if I could address that for a second.
Sure.
The parking was underneath, but it came straight in the same as it does now. We don't have the room to pull back around behind the building. Even if we rotate, it's only a few feet difference this way than it is the other way. I don't believe we'd have the room to pull back and around.
I don't really understand. May I respond?
Yes.
I don't really understand that, because when it was retail, you pulled around the back of the building, you drove in the driveway, turned a fairly acute turn into the overhang for those spaces, but you also had, against the 5 Everett Street wall, 6 parking spaces. So
correct, but you pulled straight in and then pulled into the spots in towards the trees.
I'm sorry?
You pulled straight in underneath right here and parked towards these trees.
Yeah.
So we don't, this is the existing curb cut. We don't have the room to come back to turn around here to turn a car into spots going this way towards.
Isn't that, were they not spaces underneath the overhang?
Yes, but you pull straight into them from here. You weren't taking a turn back here. You pull in straight through and then pull into the spots this way.
In the retail plan?
Yes. Yes. You pull under the building and then pull into the spots which were under the building.
If I could chime in for a moment. So the reason why we turned the building is because we needed the length to do the garage doors and the entryway onto Everett Street. There's no way we could put the garages on Everett Street and the front entries on Hale Street. That's what I would have liked to done, but it just doesn't work, because then the garages are going one way and the units are going the opposite way. So it doesn't work. The other thing is, the reason why I wanted the doors on Hale Street and the one behind that go to the lower level and up to the kitchen is to make some sort of a door so it didn't look like a side of a building. So I wanted to put a door there with some sort of an entrance that would make it look like a doorway, but not the main entrance, though. It is not the main entrance of the building. The main entrance of the building is on Everett. So we want to tone it down a little bit. And I think by making the shed roof, and it's going to be either a copper material or metal with the brackets, it picks up from the Everett Street side as well. And it's not overpowering. So that was our thought on the design. And, I think it looks good and it's going to blend in once we get all the landscaping done and everything. I think it'll be good. So that's where the thought came from that. But I wanted to do it like you said, Peter, but it just doesn't work with the site. The site's small and the lot is actually on an angle a little bit, which, I don't know if you know that. And we get pinched in the back corner. So without going for variances and anything, I thought this was the best alternative for changing it from my original plans.
Maybe I'm just mistaken. Maybe I'm mistaken about the footprint. I thought it was a square.
No, it's not. It's like 52 by 42 or something. So, that's why we had to turn the building. If I didn't have to turn the building, it probably wouldn't have been a major modification or whatever. But we had to turn the building to get the garages and the entranceways with the separate staircases into the units. So that's what we tried to accomplish there.
Yep.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. I think you, thanks for that explanation. And I think you have improved the the existing door on Hale Street as best you can with maybe the modifications that Julia just suggested.
Yeah, if we start making it look like a front entry, it's not a front entry. It's a side entry, believe it or not. But I mean, if there was nothing there, it really looked like a side of a building, right? I mean, if there was no door there, it looked like a side of a building. So at least with some door, I think it looks, you know, I think it looks good. I mean, I think I'm very happy with the changes.
Thank you.
Anybody else from the public wish to speak? Anybody ready to make a motion? Emily, you're muted.
Sorry, did we lose Ellen?
Ellen, are you there?
I think we lost Ellen. She just.
Do we have a way to reach out to Ellen? Hang on.
I can try texting her and seeing if she's having technical difficulties.
Did we lose you? Okay. Can you call in? Why don't you do that? All right. Okay. Ellen, Emily, Ellen's going to call you. Her computer went down and she's going to call in.
Okay.
Julia, the trellis in your garden looks good.
I think her phone went down too.
I mean, do you want to ask if there are any other comments or questions while we're waiting for her?
I kind of did that already, but we'll do it again.
Okay, sorry.
Is there anybody else who wish to make a comment on it? Rachel, Matt, Emily?
So I'll say it again if Ellen gets on. But so what needs to happen now is the board needs to make a recommendation to, is this Ellen?
Ellen, if that's you, you're muted.
The faceless voice is back, Emily.
Ellen, I was just saying that if there are no other comments or questions from the board, then what needs to happen now is the board would make a recommendation to the planning board on whether to approve the plan, and the recommendation could be approval with conditions or as is, or as proposed.
Thank you, Emily. I did not hear all of the testimony. When my computer failed, it was, I don't know if Julia was speaking. Peter Johnson had spoken, and Julia might have been answering a question, but I don't know if I missed any. It was relative to the meeting. Julia was speaking to the parking situation or the driving into the situation where the building couldn't be situated or changed because of the way the cars would approach from behind.
Yeah, and then Joe picked up on that and explained that the building is not square, it's rectangular, and there's not space to rotate the building back around. So
Okay.
it's not feasible. And then I think the other points were additions to the front door.
Yes.
Some dressing up of the front door, probably you want to consider in your motion.
Okay.
Cool. So there was a discussion of why there was a door placed there and Joe is describing how he put the door there, but it really is the side of the building. So the door is placed so it looks a bit more like a front entrance, but it is still a side. Am I summing that up correctly, Joel? Joe?
Oh, he's on mute.
Yes.
Yes, no, so yeah, you explained that correctly, exactly.
Do you think that there is any feasible way to make that look more like a larger entrance, even if it isn't functional as a larger entrance, rather than just a door with a shed roof on it?
Well, the shed roof matches the other side, but if we made it a gable, then I think we might get into that window above, right, Julia? You think that might interfere with that window and making it look too boxy? I mean, I kind of like the shed. I mean, I think the shed looks nice with the brackets. It's a nice detail, I think. I mean, so.
Yeah, I do like the look of the shed roof on that side and matching the kind of garage on the other side and the brackets holding it up.
Right.
I do like the look.
I think it will blend right in with the facade.
And the metal roof, I think once the metal's on, it will look really nice.
Yeah, I don't necessarily have a problem with it. I would like to clarify metal that will be used, the coloring.
What's it?
Well, we had talked about copper roofing, copper, but there's also maybe if we need to bring some more color into the building, we thought about we might do a different color metal roof. But I think we were trying to make it copper, right, Julia?
Yes, we were trying to make it.
But we're still trying to figure out we wanted to make the doors, a nice light color, not a dark door, for all the entry doors, we're toying around with the different colors now. So, but I think I'm leaning towards copper, doing the copper roofs, on above the garages and above these side entranceways.
Okay, would you be opposed to making that a condition?
No, not at all.
Okay. Anybody ready to make a motion on this?
Well, as I indicated, Joel, I don't know all of the conditions you were speaking to. Thanks, Pete, for filling in the blanks for me. But
Yeah.
would you make the motion?
I can make the motion. I would like to motion that the design review board recommend the planning board approve this site plan as presented, with the condition that I apologize, Julia, give me the correct, is it the dormers?
The roof?
The side entry and the garage and lower entry roofs.
The side entry, lower entry, and the garage roofs are copper.
Otherwise, as presented.
Yes, and that would be the one condition.
Do you have a second to the motion?
Matt Ulrich, I'll second.
Matt seconds. All right, roll call vote. Matt?
Yes.
Emily?
Yes.
Caroline is not here. Rachel?
I'm back. Answer is no.
Caroline, you're back?
Yep, just I can vote and then I'm going to get off. So no, I vote no. Did you get that?
Yes, we did. Thank you. Rachel?
Yes.
Over and out.
I'm sorry?
Rachel, yes.
Rachel, yes. Ellen?
Yes.
And for myself, I'm torn, but I guess we'll give it a yes. Motion carries 5-1.
Okay.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
I'll be sending the letter to the planning board, and I will be copying you next.
All right. Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Thank you. Have a
Thank
good
you.
night.
All right, moving along, we have any other business? The draft minutes?
So I can put those up if we need to look at them. Do I need to share my screen, or did everyone have a chance to review?
Ellen, did you review them?
I did, Joel.
Okay. Any changes?
I didn't see any,
Oh, good. All right.
but did my discerning eye might have missed a few.
I think that's a first.
Thank you. Thanks, Matt.
We have a motion to accept the minutes.
I'll move to accept the minutes as presented for the June 4th meeting of the DRB.
Second,
Rachel.
Rachel, seconds. Roll call vote. Matt?
Yes.
Emily?
Yes.
Caroline, you still there? I think not. Rachel?
Yes.
Ellen?
Yes.
And for myself, yes. Before we adjourn, I just have a question. Is it possible that we can get our everything sent out, hand delivered, rather than trying to print these off a computer?
I can ask for an additional copy and send them and deliver them to whoever would like them.
I would prefer it because by the time I print everything and it's color printing and I'm using all the supplies here, I'd rather we get them on the zoning board delivered.
Yep.
I don't know why it should be any different.
No, that's absolutely fine. I can ask the applicants for an additional copy. This was something that we had changed for most of the boards with COVID. Some people still preferred them, but it was something. So we didn't have to touch things that other people touched. I think it's fine to.
Well, I don't care if he
some now.
throws it onto my front porch and runs away, but it makes it's something to look at closer than trying to stare at my computer screen and try to get detail. And I just think it would be helpful. Okay.
I will make a note that you would prefer hard copies. Would anyone else like hard copies? Because I can certainly do that.
I'm good with the PDFs.
I'm good, Emily. Thank you.
All right.
All right. I'm the old guy here who likes to have it in hand.
I'll reach out to Caroline and to Sandy as well and see what they would prefer.
Okay. All right. We all set? Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
You have a second?
Second.
Everybody raise your hand if you want to adjourn. I see your hand, Ellen.
The faceless voice is here.
Okay. Good night, all.
Bye, guys. Be well.
Good night, everybody. Enjoy the rest of the summer. We'll see you in August.
All right.
Thank you.
Be well. Be safe.
You too.
Thank you, Emily.
Bye.